Started back, I believe, in November of 2019, and I'm a junior executive.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hercute Ngugi, Joseph Ngugi Hercute.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Hakut, or you can call me Joseph Ngugi, which Madam CEO is having some difficulty pronouncing.
It's always just been Hercute.
Sorry?
It's always just been Hercute.
Yeah, sure. So personally, I started NovaTech last year. I think I was with you guys from the very first day. I'm currently an executive with NovaTech. Looking forward to more ranks and higher ranks and, changing people's lives here in Kenya. Thank you.
Wonderful. Is Newman still here? Yes. Newman from Zimbabwe. Madzikwa, which I always misspell on our website, but I have it correct now. Why do I feel like we've lost Newman? Let me get him back on. All right. So in the meantime, Dr. Boris Darmont from Peru, one of our newest members as well. Sir, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Thank you, Cynthia. This is a privilege for me to be part of this group of people who are looking for help and be successful in different kind of lives and help a lot of people to be successful too. That's my reason why I'm here. I'm so glad.
Thank you. Mr. Rodriguez, also one of our newest leaders here from Mexico, but you wouldn't know it. He's been killing it, absolutely killing it. Junior executive with our team. If you can say hi, please.
Hello, Cynthia. My name is Gerardo Rodriguez from Mexico, Cuernavaca. I have been in NovaTech 4 months already, and I'm very happy to be here with all of you, and share this great opportunity for everyone.
Thank you. Newman, we lost you for a moment. Welcome back. Newman is
yes, thank you.
Mazikwe from Zimbabwe. Did you lose the tie and everything, or?
Yeah. Yes, but I'm back now.
Okay, well, welcome back, sir. If you can just give a brief introduction, your name, where you're from, your rank.
Yeah, my name is Newman Madziko. I'm from Zimbabwe, and I joined NovaTech on the 12th of December, 2019. I'll be 1 year soon. I can't wait. So I'm an executive with NovaTech, and I'm excited about NovaTech and its ability to change lives and giving people financial freedom that they require to live a happy life. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but never least, Mr. Corbett, also from the US. If you can introduce yourself briefly as well, your rank, how long you've been here.
Sure. Thank you, Cynthia. Guys, it's good to see some of my old friends here. It's great. James Corbett. I'm from Long Island, New York. It's funny, me and Vincent both say New York. Everybody makes fun of us, but I'm currently an executive. I reached that rank yesterday, and I was invited to join NovaTech the late summer 2019, and it's been nothing but a pleasure. I hope I can help anybody out there. If anybody needs any help, I'm always offering my services, regardless of what team you're on. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. So I believe that is everybody who has formally introduced themselves. For the guests who are attending or just now joining, please note that this is a webinar. So the only ones who are going to be present on screen or with their mics turned on are our panelists, which are our guest leaders who volunteered to be here today. If you don't see your favorite leader here, don't worry, they're still with us. We had a lot of volunteers and only, first come, first serve to help host this meeting. However, there is a chat room here. If you want to ask any questions or just say hello, you can address any one of the panelists to ask a question. Boris, do you mind translating that quickly?
Ya, está diciendo que nuestra líder está diciendo que nosotros estamos aquí, algunos están en las cámaras, no necesariamente van a poder todos aparecer, no significa que si no está en cámara, no significa que no están con nosotros, pero si ustedes necesitan comunicarse o hacer alguna pregunta, lo pueden hacer a través del chat.
Thank you. All right, so just a show of hands from our leaders here. How many people here are familiar and have done online businesses or MLM type businesses? So that would be everyone. From a second show of hands, how many people have lost money on these types of businesses? That would also be everyone. But we're all still here. I'd love to hear from you guys why you continue to do these types of businesses or MLM businesses or online businesses. What draws you to them that encourages you to continue even though we still have losses along the way? Anybody here want to volunteer first to give their input on that?
I guess I'll go.
Vincent, okay, and then Newman as well.
What draws me to it is it's like any other thing. If you lose a job, what do? You go look for another job. So we do have losses here while we investing. And just because we have losses doesn't mean we just shut the door down and close it down. We go look for more investors. I like it is because we get to meet people from all around the world here, such as right now, and you get a lot of knowledge, free knowledge, where people have to go to school and spend billions of dollars to get an education. We can get that right from here for free.
I agree with that 100%. I've always said I'm a big fan of formal education. I've got degrees and certificates myself, and I always encourage people to continue the learning process. But to me, there's nothing like hands-on learning. And what you learn in the field and what you can learn on your own in a book is great, but what you can learn in a circle full of people with different knowledge from different experiences around the world, you can't pay for that anywhere, and we get it here for free, like you said. So thank you for that. Newman? I saw you raise your hand.
Thank you very much. Yes, one of the reason why I continue to do this is because I realized earlier on in my life that whatever skill I have, for it to work for me, I need 30% of it is technical and 70% is relational. So I realized that in network marketing and in multi-level marketing, that's where it's really made evident that your net worth is really associated with your relations and your networking. So I've learned a lot, some hitting snakes here and there, but I realized that when you find something that really you're passionate about and you can change lives with, make the people that you network with different, that's the thing to go with. And that's why I've come this far with it.
Absolutely. And you've done wonderfully, by the way. I don't know how much you've actually networked in the past, but your growth here has been phenomenal. Dr. Darmont, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, well, let me tell you something very, very special for me. I had a business. I was, I'm going to say something like a joke, slave worker for someone. And then one day I said, I have to find something which helped me to be a professional, but not taking all my time with my family. I lost my family before. I was 10 years single because I lost all my family in the United States, 25 years working hard for my kids and everything. And then one day I said, I have to find something which can help me to be able to stay home more time with my family and enjoy the life. And then I was working at the university the last 10 years ago. I started for 5 years. I was doing a good and very good professional slaves. And I said, no, I have to stop this one. I have to do now a very good professional free business people. That's why I get into this kind of business. And now I'm so glad because even most of the people, sometimes we lose some money or some cash what we had at home saving. Now we can see different ways how we can make a business without taking too much time and make professionals in this area. that's why I'm thankful of God, because I know now NovaTech.
Is anybody here working, that you mentioned it, a traditional business in addition to this, or is everybody here doing just networking? Vincent, you have a traditional job. Newman, you do as well. Yanni, Hercule, the rest of you guys are all doing just this. How do you guys, for the ones who are doing the traditional work as well, find balancing the traditional work life and the networking part of it? And is your goal ultimately to just do one or the other, or to do both? Newman?
Yes, thank you very much. I do both, primarily because I realized that what I want to do in my life, set financial goals, and I realized that I need to balance them as it stands now. And I realized that I become a testimony to those that I work with on a day-to-day basis. They are the ones who see a transformation in the way I live, in the way I do business, and it becomes an area or a route for me to get into their financial life and be able to share with them my financial goals, and then they get to know, and before you know it, they're interested in what you do, and they begin to see results, because a lot of people are driven by results, and when they see results, they then want to be part of what you're doing.
Right.
And I've realized that there's always time for everything. So I demarcate my time. For work, I do my work, and I do networking over lunch, over seminars that we do when we get to do snacks and whatever. People chit chat. I have something to talk about that can make a difference in their lives without
And you have
really
a family as well, right?
encroaching
You have
into my
young
work
children.
time.
You have a family as well, right? That you're also balancing with this. You have young children.
Exactly. And online business makes it easier to be at home and be able to do business as well.
Excellent. I'm still trying to figure out how to balance all of it. So my kids, luckily for me now, are teenagers and adults, so I don't have to watch them as much, but it's a different dynamic too with COVID. And a lot of us aren't in the field anymore. And I find that this has been a huge blessing for us as well, because we're able to spend more time at home doing this without having to be out in the street as much. Gerardo, I'd like to hear from you a little bit also. You're in Mexico, and I know COVID is a big issue down there as well. And you come from this type of background with network marketing. How has the dynamics or the environment been in Mexico as far as transitioning different businesses, having to deal with COVID? What are some of the challenges do you run into, and how you deal with them?
Yes, Cynthia. For me, sharing NovaTech from home, using digital tools, it's a new safe way to do and close deals. Besides being my own boss, it gives me the opportunity to spend most of the time with my family.
And how are people adapting to the idea of, I ask you in particular because I know from previous businesses we've worked together, you come with large groups of people. And sometimes transitioning from one business to another, for people who are, who've been in failed businesses or things that just didn't work, what do you suggest as far as moving on, or what things do you look for to help people keep going?
Okay. NovaTech is a project that knowing how to handle it based on a strategy as that we have, a compound interest, leads you to win and to meet your goals. But the most important is to enter with or without fear, to invest enough to be able to achieve your weekly earnings. That earnings will allow you to meet your goals. Putting your assets at risk without going into debt or without borrowing money. Always invest the amount with which you can sleep peacefully, and especially once you manage to double your investment, withdraw your investment capital, and continue making compound interest with your earnings. That's the advice that I will give the people in NovaTech.
All right, so you just said a lot there. I'll touch on Boris as well, but you gave some incredible tips there that I really want people to kind of focus on. One is setting a goal, right? Understanding what your goal and what you're trying to reach is. You talk about compounding, but also, and some people choose to do that or not do that, depending on what your goals are. Compounding can be a good option for you, especially if you're starting small, to help build your accounts, which is why we offer some of the smaller packages. But also, or maybe you just start large and, like you said, just keep withdrawing until you've made a certain amount, but without fear. I love that you said that. Guys, if you're going to enter anything in life, and that's business, school, marriage, children, relationships, everything involves a sense of courage. All right. And people should always feel like they are entering something with no fear. Doesn't mean that bad things can't happen. Okay. But there are certain things that God is in control of, that I believe, and things that you are absolutely in control of as well. And you're given the ability to be able to succeed in life. So barriers are just that, just barriers. What was the acronym for fears? False something appearing real or something like that. Yeah, it's all nonsense. It's in our heads. It's barriers that we set up for ourselves. But also, lastly, is being responsible with it as well. You can enter something in without fear, but there's still a level of responsibility and accountability that is needed in order to do these types of ventures or anything. And what Gerardo said here was making sure that you're not like putting everything you own on one thing and kind of just leaving it to the wind. Put in what you're comfortable with, what you're comfortable playing with, more or less, so that you don't have that sense of fear that what happens if it gets lost. The goal is to go in, build on it, and only risk what you're willing to lose. So excellent points there. Thank you very much. Boris, there was something you wanted to add on to that as well?
Yes, I think the most important thing, which the people who were in the network marketing, was a lot of people, they came to this kind of business without knowing exactly what was or what is the business. And then they trust without knowing anything. And then the second thing is, a lot of people don't train themselves, and they didn't take responsibility of this. And then I think the biggest problem what we had now, I'm having now, is to bring that people to the new business and they can trust. They don't trust not because NovaTech is not trustable. It's because they never took responsibility over their investments. That's one of the things what we have to work hard now, which everyone, as you see, I just bought 3 people behind me coming to this business now, because I want just people who really, really understand and take responsibility about their investments. That's what I'm trying to do now.
That's an excellent point. Hercute.
Yes.
My adopted son there. So Hercute and I have been together actually for a couple of years. You're my big son, Vincent. We're still working on that because you come with family and everything. You're a package deal. But Hercute is somebody who started with 0 experience, along with Jim as well, Mr. Corbett here. And with what I called a couple of years ago when we started together back in 2017, I called us the Peanut Gallery, because we were all walking into this with like 0 experience in a multitude of things: networking, online business, crypto, trading. Even Jim always used to joke how he didn't even have a laptop and he only had like a flip phone. He didn't even have a smartphone at the time, and grew into very, very esteemed leaders in your regions that you've been able to carry on for years despite the ups and downs in the businesses. So I'd like to hear a little bit from Hercute, who was our youngest leader, who grew the fastest in position as well. What it kind of takes for somebody who's new in this business and wanting to be successful and wanting to make action and a living out of it, what type of advice you would give, and maybe some of the challenges you had as well?
Number one, thank you so much for that. So number one is to ask people to do due diligence. Okay, you don't just go investing in any business because it has been presented to you. Get to know, what does this business do? How do they generate revenue? Because we are having businesses coming and going, right? So most of people end up losing money. But why is it so? Because number one, they've not done enough research to know, is this business or is this program doing the right kind of business? How are they able to generate their revenue? You know, who are the founders of this business? You know, what is their history background about these leaders? What kind of people are they? Are they people who are transparent? Are they people with integrity? You understand? So after knowing all these and doing the background check about who owns the business, what kind of business they are doing, and if you feel that you're still skeptical after doing all that, what I normally advise people is to start small. You know, when you are in business, you are better to understand the business much better than when you are at the peripheral. You understand? But when you get in with whichever package you start with, it becomes very easy for you to understand the business. You get to learn from those people who've been in that business for quite some time. You get to learn from them, you know, get to ask them questions. How do I do this? How do I do this? How am I able to grow my investment from point A to point B? You understand? So fear, like someone, I've just seen a message from the chat. Someone said fear is false evidence appearing real, you know?
Right.
And like Madam CEO said, those are things that we just put in our heads, you know? Risk is everywhere. Waking up every morning and going to on the roads, maybe to whatever thing you're doing, it's a risk, you know, because you never know what you might find on the roads. You might get an accident. So life is all about risking. And sometimes I normally tell people, you see, you think, what if I lose? Why don't you think, what if I gain? How much far will I grow? You understand? Because all those people that we've seen them growing, the likes of Jeff Bezos, you know, Mark Zuckerberg, if those guys never tried their ideas, you know, it was a risk starting that business because they could have started them and failed, right? But now that they started those businesses, they've been able to grow. Currently, they are top ranked billionaires and millionaires in this world. But it's all about risking and starting, you know? Yeah.
So on the flip side of that, not to throw you under the bus or anything, Jim, but Jim was the older leaders. You were one of the youngest. Jim was actually one of the oldest who's worked traditional businesses your entire life. And on the flip side of that, I'd like you to maybe talk a little bit about what it's like to be doing this at a later stage and still not having fear and taking a chance to come in and change your life at this late of a stage.
Well, I thought about this a lot. You know, my prior work, I was in the supermarket business for 30 years. And I think what made me successful at what I did was I enjoyed what I did. I looked at that as probably just as important as a paycheck. And then I just being passionate about what I do. So moving over into a traditional networking business, first of all, as a lot of you guys know, I was brand new and Cynthia took me under her wings and she pretty much said, I'll help you. I think it took about 2 months and I sat down with Cynthia on the phone one day and I asked her, I said, why do you do so much? And she said, well, I'm a servant leader. And I said, what is a servant leader? And she explained to me giving, without any expectation for return, regardless of who you are, where you come from, what religion, color, or creed you are. You treat everybody with respect and give and don't expect anything in return. And I took that and ran with that. So for me, I kind of looked and said, I was always like that anyway. It was easy transformation for me at 50. Well, actually, I was 55. And I don't think I would ever do the network stuff when I was doing my other work. I didn't have time, and I have 5 kids, happily married 29 years. So I have a family amongst a lot of other animals. There's a lot of things that eat and poop in my house. And what I found was it was an easy transition because all I had to do was help people and not worry about what am I going to get in return. And when you look at that in networking business, there's people that I'm happy to help all the time because it fulfills me. I gain, I mean, God bless the money that we're making in NovaTech, and it's only getting better every week. But the fulfillment of being able to help people on a daily basis is more, I know I can't pay my bills with that, but it's more important to me. So when you look at it like that, you don't really care about the pitfalls because I live like a lot of you people and everybody else should live, is everything happens for a reason, good and bad. And if something comes and traps you and puts you in a position where you're not successful at something, look at it as there's a reason why, there's a good reason why, and just keep on moving forward and help as many people as you can. And that's really what I think that's why I was able to transition at my point in my life.
Yeah, I agree with that. So people tend to have downfalls or things go wrong and they don't go, or we lose money. Everybody, they get mad. I never get mad over losing money. Okay, I can live in a box. I can have a lot one day and have nothing the next. But to me, it's a lot like riding a bicycle or learning how to swim. Once you know how to do something, you know how to do it. So if you build a successful business, even if it fails, you have the ability to do it again. And now you take everything you've learned along with it, and you should be able to do it that much faster the next time around. And then you network. So you meet people that you wouldn't normally meet, and somehow you come together. Listen, this business is still by far not with millions of people, and we're fine with that. We're totally okay. But we started with what I consider the correct building blocks with the right types of people, teams, mentality. Trust me, I was very sick over it the first couple of months, just nervous, just making sure everything works right. And it didn't always work right, but you have to be able to take, as you said, all these things as learning experiences and not disappointments, because that's how you learn and that's how you grow from it. If we didn't fail in our past businesses, we wouldn't know what to look for in future businesses to prevent that from happening again. I always compare it to like a baby walking, right? Children aren't born with fear. They get up, they know they have to walk. Even if you don't tell them, they try it anyway. And they'll fall a million times and they don't care if they hit their head on a table, but they just always get back up. And as adults, we never look at children and tell them, you know what, maybe you should stay down. You're not very good at this walking thing. We always encourage them to get back up and keep walking, right? Otherwise, we'd all be, crippled our entire lives. So it's important to not lose that sense of encouragement and wanting to move on as we get old, as we move along. I don't want to say get older. I don't age. But I do want to hear from Mr. Katende, who is our biggest leader here. And if you can discuss for me a little bit, because I know you've been through the gamut yourself, but can you talk to us a little bit about the importance of babysitting and hand-holding your teams in the beginning and training? Mr. Katende has the largest team here, but I can't even talk to him during the day. Trying to get a hold of him for like 30 seconds, I start to get mad. I'm like, I'm talking to you. And he's like, I'm busy. And I'm like, okay, fine, go do what you got to do. But it's because he's with his teams and he's training them and he's showing them what to do. We do have a support desk, but I will tell you almost zero, and I say that honestly, almost zero tickets comes from his downline. And that's with thousands of people in his downline, almost zero questions on our support desk because of the support they get from their upline and their leaders. So can you talk to us a little bit about how you manage that?
Well, thank you once again. I think for me, I believe more in perfection. In everything I do, and once I put all my love into it, I know that I'm gonna get it right. But it wasn't easy, like we all said, it wasn't easy at all to get to this point, which I have to give you, Madam CEO, big hands, because you've been there for me since day one. Because I remember when we started, at some point, it was like, this is not working. But without your pushes, then I couldn't make it.
And I got very mad that day.
So that what I've been doing is I make sure at least when someone comes in the business, they have first to understand the everything about the compensation plan and everything. But if I need to assist them, I'll really make sure with our leaders, Newman and the other guys that are here today. So I just make sure that I do a one-on-one with them. Then I explain to them everything because I believe if Newman gets better, he's also going to teach his team. So that's the strategy that I've been using. And what helps us most, like it's like right now we're doing meetings around. So we go meet people around. I show them one-on-one, showing them whatever that I do, they also multiply. And we're just making sure as well that they start using crypto on themselves, the transactions, which was most of the biggest challenge that we had here.
Yeah.
Now, as doing that, we can see now that we're getting more less work because everyone is able now to get some BTC on themselves and everything, and they're growing their team. So if we need to assist them, we just there to do so. So that's what helps me as well to grow that the team the way that it is. And I also think that I'm pushing my team so well, and sometimes they're just telling me to cool down a bit. As I said, I just believe in perfection. Then in
Tough
everything
love.
that I
That's
do,
what I call it.
I just,
Tough love.
yeah, it's tough love, yes. So I just making sure whenever that we start, we finish first before we go to bed.
So you said something important also, and you know, I'm going to talk a little bit about the business. For I'm sure a lot of people want to hear about what it is that we actually do as well. But you mentioned, for example, teaching Newman to lead so that he can lead as well. I know a lot of times when we're starting business, everybody has their niche. Like, for example, you know, some people are really, really good at doing Zooms and presentations. Some people get real nervous, for example, on Zooms and seeing people log online and it's technology and everything else, while others do really good in front of a room. You know, I've seen, you know, Yannick, for example, short clips of him doing presentations in front of the room. You know, it's like going to church. You're like listening to a pastor in front of the room guide you and tell you what to do. And it's very encouraging and very inspiring. So it's important in this type of business to not feel like you always have to rely on the leader to do things for you. Because I'm a big believer in not just following, but taking the lead as well. And no, not everybody's meant to be a leader and we need followers, whatever. But if you can just for a moment envision where you want your business to be or your life to be, and is that going to be achieved, always staying in the background. So it's important to learn skills and trades and the ability to, you know, manage your own teams, because that's where the growth is going to come from. One of the questions I get the most as CEO, as a leader myself, is, you know, how do I get where you are, or how do I build my business? And if it's something that comes natural to you, great, use that natural ability. But if it's not, then you have to be able to see what the leaders do and be able to do what they do. And that's always how I answer people. Are you willing to do what I do? You don't have to be good at it, but are you willing to at least try it? And then that's how it'll continue to grow. So thank you all of you for your feedback. We're going to continue, but let's talk a little bit about the business we're in. Okay. So we started NovaTech back in June of last year, 2019. We're going into 2021. One of the questions, and people stop asking that, they know not to ask me that question anymore, is you know, how long are we going to last? Can we go a year? Can we go 2 years? I never know anybody who fails in a business after 2 years and they're happy with it. You're always unhappy when it doesn't succeed. So my goal is not to set a rest in peace or a death date for the business, because asking me how long it's going to last is asking me when is it going to fail. And we don't have any intention of failing here. One of the things that we've been adamant about doing is being conservative in how we manage the business, but also looking for new projects and ideas to add to it so that it can continue to grow. People ask, you know, why did you register as a broker? You know, because a lot of these businesses we join online, You just trade and say, hey guys, we're trading for you, and you give out returns, and that's good enough. What's normally good enough for most is not good enough for us, especially with the experiences that we had. Being a broker allows anybody to trade on our platform. And also in doing so, we have to stay honest because our business has to stay in good standing just to be able to maintain the platform and to be registered with MetaTrader. I want to share with you guys here. Where is it? Let me know if you can see this. But this is our certificate for the business in St. Vincent and Grenadines, which is the division that operates the actual Forex trading in the platform. Okay, so we do have different registrations and they serve different purposes. Okay, so for example, Estonia registration, they're really good with handing out crypto licenses and stuff like that. So we started a division there. I actually had to get residency in Estonia just to be able to do it. We have the St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which originally started in BVI, not Vatican City or whatever other people are saying. But St. Vincent and the Grenadines allowed us more flexibility and has more flexible laws and regulations as far as how we can operate a Forex business and licensing and stuff like that. So that's where 90% of our business resides. And then we have the US entity, which is NovaTech Advisors. And that is basically a hedge fund. That's what makes us a hedge fund company, which allows us to be able to give financial advice and look for other financial outlooks and opportunities to be able to continue to grow. But you'll see here, you know, business was started in 2019. This registration says September because, again, we started in the Virgin Islands in June, opened this registration a few months later. But this is dated July 2020 of this year. All right, 1 year after we started, it has to be apostilled and everything else. But this is our declaration. And every year, MetaTrader does ask us for this information. It needs to be updated, stamped, and you're not going to get this if you're not in good standing, meaning we're operating within all regulations, we're paying all our dues, our taxes, we're keeping the company up to date. And that's what being a broker means to us. All right, is the responsibility of managing an actual business and not just playing around with people's funds. It's one of the reasons, for example, I saw somebody ask here about exchanging money within accounts. Exchanging money within accounts, you know what that's called? E-money. E-money is fake money. E-money is nothing more than digital money and numbers online, which, you know, just as a little insider trick, just to let you guys know, the platform that you log into every day is an MLM platform. It reports numbers, it reports figures, and it reports what we tell it to report. Okay, so if I know we made 3.5% profit, that's what I report to the platform, and that's what everybody gets paid, and it helps track our earnings, it helps track reports, it helps generate receipts. But guess what, guys? That's not where the money is. The money's on the trading platform. That's where it should be. That's where it's being traded. So when you see money in your e-wallet, it's only there because we allow you to withdraw it from there. So when there's little, and I say this for two reasons. One, so that you understand the dynamics of it. There's a trading platform, and that's where we execute our trades. And then there's the reporting platform, which is what you use as a user interface. All right. But I say this so that you also know that if it glitches, nothing happened to the money. It's not there. It's on the platform. So if the site is down or we're doing maintenance or the dashboard, I don't know why everybody got freaked out over the dashboard being down for like a day and a half. There was an update on the server. It was glitching. We had to fix the glitch. But every time you logged into your wallet, the money was there. If you scroll down to the bottom of the page, it showed you all the details. So a snapshot of your account does not mean something's wrong with your account, because that's not where it's managed. And it's the reason why we also have ATMs on the ground. ATMs do what? They generate income. It's the reason why we allow you to buy crypto in the back office. It's managed through a bank. I don't really have too much control over it, but guess what? It generates income for the company. We've even started executing some mining equipment very early on, test phases. But, you know, I kind of got a little turned off to mining because of our past experiences, but mining wasn't the issue. Management was the issue. You know, we talked to our vendors and miners, and they're like, mining's doing great. You know, yes, there's times where electricity may be high or the value of the coin may be down, but overall it's a growth. So we decided to just stick our heads back into that as well and build on that. So the overall goal for the company is to make sure that we continue to add these projects, but it's not only a way to generate income for the company to make sure we stay sustainable and profitable, but we'd like to be able to give people in the coming months and years options of how the money gets spent. So if you come in and you want something that's a little bit more conservative, maybe you'll invest in this aspect of it. But if you want something that's a little riskier that can give you higher returns, then you'll do that aspect of it. I don't have any fear. You know, there's some markets we cannot grow in, and I'll tell you why. It's because of the mindset in those markets. They've been very badly spoiled by bad businesses, bad concepts. To them, if they're not making 30, 40, 50% a month and turning it fast, then it's not worth doing. I get it. I don't agree with it. Fast money in is usually fast money out. But we're looking for longevity. And that means growing over time. I'm not telling anybody to quit their jobs or stop what you're doing. I'm not even telling you, listen, you know, with a networking mindset, sometimes you're like, no competition, no competition. I welcome competition. Okay, I welcome anyone to come in and try out different platforms so that you also have a point of comparison, so that you understand what they're doing versus what we're doing, why theirs may be high risk and ours may be low risk or lower risk. But, you know, all of these things are to help people continue to build. You want to go off and do a project that turns 90% in a month? Mazel tov. Let me know how that goes for you. We're never mad when people withdraw. Okay, and we're always happy when they come back. So, you know, I'd like, you know, to also hear from you guys. What are your overall goals and visions, and where would you like to see us as a company progress to? Like, what would you like to see in the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years take place, you know, here at NovaTech? Hercute?
Okay, number one, I would like the company to introduce more products so that we can have more profits. That is number one. Then number two is, if possible, already the company has started rolling out the ATM machines, like in the video that we saw. If we can have them, you know, spread all over the world, you know, we get some here in Kenya, we get some in South Africa, get some in Zimbabwe, that would be very great. Also, I was talking to some of my guys in the team, and I was also asking them some of the questions of what they would want to see or where they hope to see NovaTech in the next 5 years, the next 10 years. Some were telling me they would like to see, you know, the founders visiting different countries. You know, they feel more attached to the business when, you know, the founders get to visit them in various countries. Others, there are those people who've been in previous businesses where they've failed, you know, and they believe online businesses, they have.
This is how I can register now. I'd like to be able to not have to do this in the future.
Okay, that was a good answer.
Yeah, if I can avoid this, you'll see us anywhere.
Okay, good. So a number of people are telling me, you know, those people who've been used to those businesses that comes and go and are not doing real businesses, they were telling me they hope that NovaTech survives the test of time. I don't know what time they are referring to, but that is their hope. And another thing, which is the business to continue as it is going. Personally, currently, I'm very okay with everything that we are doing. The compensation plan is great. The ability to access your fund is great. Transparency is great. You know, communication is top notch. Tickets are answered almost immediately. Another thing, we've never missed a payment, you know. So basically is to advise the founders to continue with the same spirit, continue with the same morale. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, great. So to answer some of the things you addressed there, we're going to invite Mr. Petion to our next meeting. And whoever wants to volunteer to be on that one as well is more than welcome. And he'll be discussing some of the aspects of the projects that we implement, because he deals with the lawyers and the legalities of things. So things like the ATM, we've been working on that financial license, guys, for 2 years. So even before NovaTech was even a concept or an idea, there was licensing that we had to go through. So, and it's different for every country. So I'd like to invite him to our next meeting so that he can discuss some of these things as well as some products that can add value to our business. I don't want to turn, our business into a kind of like a monkey circle where we're just, selling everything and anything for the sake of making money. It needs to make sense. Even with registrations, I know sometimes people ask us, are you going to open an office here? Or are you going to open an office there? I only open offices where it makes sense for us to do so. So if that country offers flexible legislation and tax laws and they're crypto friendly and it makes sense to do so, we'll open an office there. But again, it's only going to be for operations. It's not going to be for networkers to sit there and sell the business and say, come look at us, how legitimate we are. My legitimacy is not in an office. We don't even trade in offices. We trade online. So we do these things as a way to make sure it benefits the business so it can benefit the consumer, not the individual. And as far as a comp plan, you'll know, most of you that have been here since the beginning, this comp plan has evolved a lot over the past year. It started here with a lot of fees, but as we build, listen, I know everybody wants to make as much as possible and pay as little as possible. That's just life. However, as we've been able to build the business and become more profitable, we're able to make adjustments and changes. Hercule pointed out something to me on the comp plan I wasn't even aware of. It wasn't really written that way, but somehow got coded that way for having positions in your downline having to be spread across a bunch of legs. We discussed it here and as the founders, and some of us were like, well, leave it, it's fine. Others were like, this is going to be an impossibility. Guess what? We changed it. And I think 30 people hit rank overnight. So congratulations to you that did. And, it took a little bit of a ding this week, but to me, these are people who should have hit rank already anyway. So whether I paid it then or I pay it now, it doesn't matter. I believe in rewarding and recognizing people for the work that they do. And I think it's important as leaders as well to recognize your team so that you can continue to encourage them. It's a morale boost. It gives people a lot more inspiration and stuff. So anybody else on what you'd like to see occurring going forward? Vincent, yes.
Well, first of all, I'm happy with everything that you have provided here for us. It's super great, from the pay to being able to withdraw your principal at any time after 90 days. But one thing is being part of other platforms, maybe a little bit more investors. And I know you just don't want any Sally Joe just to come in there and start investing our money, but is there anything in place to start getting more investors? Because I believe with more investors investing for us would bring more profits, I should say, being able to handle our money.
Traders, you mean, or investors?
Yes, traders.
Oh,
Yes,
traders. Well,
we already got the investors.
Yeah, I'm like, the investors are your job. My job is to make sure money's coming in. The traders are a handful. I'm gonna be honest with you. So let me first comment on the 90 days. Yes, you have access to your capital after 90 days without fees, but somebody can withdraw immediately from their capital if they want to. They're just assessed a small fee, and that's because we do have a comp plan that's tied to it. We've already paid commissions and everything else. So it's just to prevent putting it in, taking it out, getting commissions, putting it back in. After 90 days, most people are hooked and they stay with the program or, decide at that time if they want to withdraw. Now, as far as the trading is concerned and the number of traders that we have, at any given point, we've had anywhere from 3 to 7 traders on our staff that work for us. You cannot have an account with NovaTech and trade for us. We've had members want to trade for us. You have to relinquish your account to do that. Most people just find it's easier to let somebody else do it for you. So we really haven't had anybody give up an account to be a trader with us. But if you go on LinkedIn, for example, you'll sometimes see our company listed there looking for traders. And we'll have as many as 100 to 120 to 150 applicants applying with us. And when they do apply with us, they have to agree to go through a very stringent 30-day pilot program. During that pilot program, they're trading on one of our demo accounts. And again, this is where being a broker plays, because we control all fees, all transactions, everything on the platform. So if somebody's trading, we can go in there and control those trades. If I don't have my own platform, I can't do that. If somebody's trading for me and they lose the pot, they lost the pot, it's done. And I've tried that, not with the business, but I've tried it on a personal note, giving somebody money and letting them trade for me. I have no control over it. Even if I can log into the account and I see things dying, it's not my platform. This allows us to be able to monitor the activity. Every trader is given a different amount to trade with based on their skill level. And they're also giving limits. So they can't trade 100% of what they're trading with at a time. Okay. They can trade with 10%, 20%, depending on the account. And if we see an account going crazy, we can shut it down and we can take over those trades so that we can reverse them and try to bring in more income. So with that said, we have to be able to monitor everything. We can't at this stage of the game monitor 30, 40 traders, nor do I want to. So of the 120 applicants, maybe 20 or 30 of them will go through the pilot program. And of that, only 2 or 3 are selected. And at any given time, if they do not meet our requirements, we let them go. Okay, because they're paid to trade. They get a percentage of all the profits they make. It's not helpful to us if they make profit one week and lose the next. It happens, but it can't be, hey, I trade very, aggressively. I made thousands of dollars. You pay them their portion. And then next week you're like, what's this shit show going on? For lack of a better term, sorry. So we have to be able to monitor the activity. One of the questions we get asked a lot, and it's an amazing question, is, will we have too much investment to be able to trade with? We haven't nearly reached that point yet. Okay, but it's a great question, because at some point, if you tell people, listen, we can't take any more deposits, it makes people nervous, but it's also because we want to make sure that we're trading responsibly with what we can actually trade with. We may close enrollment at some point and reopen it again at another point, or we may have to increase, the deposit limit and say, okay, guys, $99, we can't trade with anymore. It needs to be more. But I don't want to do that also, because I don't want to limit the opportunity for people. All right. So that's also the point of introducing more products and services, as Hercute is asking for as well, so that we have ways to invest it that doesn't need babysitting. Mining does not need babysitting. You buy machines, you plug them in, they mine, the money goes in the account. How much did we make this week? Split it up. And the ATM, same thing. We have to advertise them, make sure people know that they're there and they're being used, but I don't have to babysit it. I just need to make sure they stay online and nobody's unplugging the machines. And same thing with the credit cards. A lot of it is marketing so that people are using our products and services, because it's from that usage that you're going to get the profits. The trading, I don't want it to grow to the point that we need 50 traders. It's not going to be manageable, and it makes it a lot riskier, and people don't use us because of the risk factor. They use us because of the dependability factor. So it needs to be a good balance, but all of these things are things that we think of on a daily basis.
How is the project of credit card and debit card is going, Cynthia?
So good question. Yannick is part of that test group. Hercute here is also part of that test group. The credit card is ready. And I don't think we're going to launch it, though, till after the new year, because I need these guys to order the cards and use them and make sure they actually work. I want to know how long it takes, which countries are they shipping to, You know, if it takes Yannick 3 days to get his card and Hercule 30 days to get his card, these are things I need to know and gauge, because these are bank issued cards, but they are ready. They're ready to print them and ship them as they're getting ordered. So we'll be going through that this week so that these guys can start placing orders for the cards. The crypto wallets are connected so that we can actually put crypto on the cards and use those. So I'm really, really excited about that. But I do need I would say maybe another 30 days of testing just to make sure it works well. I don't want to launch something globally that's not working correctly. But we're very excited about that. Jim,
Are we
I
going
saw
to
you.
be able to?
I'm
Just a quick
sorry.
question. Are we going to be able to pay with our earnings with our credit cards?
You'll be able to not pay for your earnings on credit card, because when you pay for your account using the credit card, it's kind of like going in a circle. So we have to be careful about cash. Oh geez, what's the word I'm looking for? Rejections from credit cards. Because here's the thing: when you use a credit card, you call your bank and then you dispute the charge. Meanwhile, we've already started paying earnings or whatever on it. So you have to be very careful with chargebacks with credit cards. And we don't want that kind of hassle or responsibility. We give you back your money whenever you want. I'd rather keep it that way. The intention of the card is for you to have a way to easily dispose of your income or use your income. Because right now, not everybody has access to crypto or can easily transfer it to your bank. And even if you can transfer it to your bank, sometimes the banks are controlling what you do with it. And then they want to know what's the source of it, where's it coming from, and there's a lot of fees. Now I'm seeing there's even delays on, like Coinbase. You send out crypto, they're telling you they'll release it in 3 days. What are you talking about? It's blockchain. What are you holding on to? So the purpose of the card is for people to take their earnings, put it on the card, and then you can use it on the card as you wish. It also has a program built into it where you can send money like Zelle or Cash App to other users. There's also going to be like a layaway program, a loan program, a POS program. This is going to allow us to do so much with this card. Right now, we're just talking about spending, but there's going to be a lot of programs rolled into it with the bank card that's going to make the program very flexible as well. Jim.
Yeah, that I love that, by the way. That's awesome. I'd like to get away from what the company could do moving forward to what we already have in front of us. One of the things that I enjoy, and I think it really helped the success with so far I've had, is having access, like everybody else does, to you. But we're very close. Obviously, a lot of people know that. But when you come on to maybe one of my Zooms, it booms. There's a lot people love it for one, but what they do is there's a lot more legitimacy to what I'm doing, and I think a lot has to do with just the updates they hear from you. Like this particular video is just going to explode to everybody's business because the legitimacy is now more real right now because we've heard from the owner and it's being explained to us with clarity. Is there any way you could do like a weekly, Cynthia? I know you're busy. I'm just saying like a weekly update, that type of stuff. Because I've asked you and Eddie to do your show again.
Well, okay, so we had a show, it was called Corporate Corner or something like that. And Eddie and I were doing them weekly and we had a lot of fun doing it. I'm not sleeping. And I'm gonna tell you one thing I'm grateful for. The more the business evolves, the more it runs on its own. Good. But once I get to that stage, I'm looking for the next product or project to implement. So I can't commit to weekly, but I can commit to something. And this is the start. I love the fact that we've gotten together to do this. And I'd like to, we don't need to keep it this large with this many people. We can keep it to 3 or 4 people, maybe once a month or every 2 weeks even. I don't want to get bored with the concept of doing something. And I want to make it exciting and intriguing for people so that they can engage in it. And that sometimes means just we go out there and we work. And then when we have a chance to be together like this, we can do that. To me, this is like spending holidays with family. You don't need to see them every day or even every week. But when you get together, it's more meaningful and more is being shared. And I love seeing you guys out there doing what you do, honestly, because this is the most competent group of people I've ever met. And I just love that you're able to do what you do without me. I'm happy to join, but I think this is just phenomenal, and it's the building blocks are right here. But yes, we will make an effort to be more present.
Great.
Say something.
Good,
All right,
good,
guys.
Cynthia.
So
I want
I
to
think
thank you
that's pretty much.
because you're sharing all this time with us, especially with people who are trying to do something better and trying to help people on the other side. And then I think you are doing a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Amen.
I think as a group, we're all doing phenomenally well. And guys, I don't want anybody, whether it's you guys as leaders or any members of your team, to ever have any concerns or fears about asking questions, making recommendations. Even our support group, it's not a great deal of people on there because we don't get a lot of questions. We get some, and some of them are a little repetitive. But it's stuff you would expect people to ask. You know, as much as we would love people to just sign on and know what to do all the time, it's not that type of business. People have to learn about crypto. They have to learn about their wallets. They have to learn how to, invest their earnings, how to withdraw. So, I appreciate the help of the leaders staying involved in that process. And everything is a process. I don't want anybody to get mad or impatient or wig out or go on our Telegram group and say something silly like somebody did the other day. And I know they may think they're justified in doing so, but we're not cartoon characters, guys. We're not running around screaming the sky is falling. We have to have a level of responsibility to our fellow man. And I'd love for us to continue to find ways to not just make money, but just grow individually as people, because that'll take you anywhere. Whether or not you do NovaTech, whether or not you do anything in this life, our goal ultimately and our mission ultimately is to make sure people become happy and sufficient and able to thrive no matter what the conditions are. All right, so let me make sure we're not missing any questions. The credit card we spoke about, look for that after the new year, after we're done testing it. Leaders, do you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah,
Newman?
I just wanted to say something, Madam CEO.
Mhm.
For us, the debit card is a game changer. And a lot of investors are excited about it, and they're looking forward to its success because it hasn't been easy. When people get their crypto and they need to make it cash or make it something that they can use to buy. In our market, crypto is not that popular, and it could be a long time for it to be
Right.
accepted
And that's one
accepted by
avenue.
the majority
Looking
of
for other ways too,
authorities and the
because
people.
oh, sorry, I was cutting off. No, I agree with you, but I want to be completely transparent about something. Most of the issues revolving around what we're discussing, moving crypto, moving fiat, having accessibility, are usually local issues. Banking issues, crypto issues, regulations within the country you are in. So everybody knows crypto is readily available, but you may have a limited access to it versus what I have access to. And a lot of times that has to do with the laws and regulations of a country. The card is going to be a tool. It's going to be very helpful, but it's also not going to be available in some countries. I don't know, I'll have a list at the point we launch it, which countries it's available and not available in. But guess what? It's the bank that makes that determination. And a lot of times they make that determination because of what's going on locally in a particular country. I hate to say it, Zimbabwe I know is problematic. I'm going to try my hardest to make sure it's on the list. Congo is another one. There's a lot of countries around the world that banks just don't want to do business with because of the red tape and the issues they have to go through. And as much as I can try to do what I do, at the end of the day, some things are just not in our control. So I'm going to try. I've given them a list of where everybody is. My people are here, and they couldn't even believe the list we gave them. If you guys look at a heat map, there's a heat map in the back office now for geocaching and geolocations, which I think is pretty cool. It shows you where your downline is in the world. And that map is heating up from left to right, the entire planet. is getting filled with NovaTech, which is amazing. I gave them that map and I said, I need the credit card available here. And they were like, okay, let's start with the biggest circles first, and then we'll figure out the rest as we go along. So some things might be, we might hit some barriers. I'll always do my best to make sure we accommodate everyone as much as we can. Some things we just have to be very careful with and take our time with. But I'll always go to bat to try to make sure everybody's accommodated.
Thank you. Thank you.
One thing.
Okay, anyone else before we wrap up? Hercule, yes. Oh, I'm
Yes,
sorry. Hercule, then Vincent.
Okay. So mine is just to thank NovaTech and the founders, and especially you, Madam CEO, because sincerely speaking, NovaTech, especially during this pandemic period, it has been a very great pillar to most of us, especially who started the business. Actually, I was talking to someone and he was telling me, it's like you guys, the founders, knew that there was a pandemic coming. So you came up with this business. And you really, the business was a very great relief to most of the people, and especially here in Kenya. And I believe it's the same thing with people from South Africa, Mexico, and any other place. So it was a really very great relief, and continue with the same spirit. We are always praying for you. We are always praying for the business, our traders, and we believe you are going to make a history with NovaTech. Thank you so much.
That's very empowering. Sometimes I don't know how we do what we do. Yeah, sometimes I have to be honest with you. Even the start of this, it's only because you made that comment. It's like we knew it was coming. We don't know what's coming, but sometimes you get a inclination or a message or an idea that hits you so powerfully that you're kind of forced to run with it. And the idea of even NovaTech, literally, I was like half awake, half asleep. I woke up and I was like, we're starting our own company. The CEO, the CTO, our partner, Ms. Deborah Brazil, looked at it, was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, trust me, we have to do this. But once the idea is there, we have to, it's almost like the chips always just fall into play. We're given what we need in the tools. And I can only account that to a higher being, call it the universe, call it what you want. But something's always driving us to do more, and we're always guided in doing so. So for that, I'm grateful. Vincent.
Good, to drive you to do more. When we send out our link, for instance, mine's Thomas V, I don't give up my plugin, but when that page comes up and it's the link to sign people to join up with NovaTech, is there any way to implement that message from the CEO, that video that you did? It was really well put together.
Which
and
one? Oh, the presentation video?
No, not the presentation, the message from the CEO, where you felt, you understand that you've been in other businesses and that you feel that, with your heart, because it's coming from your heart.
I mean, everybody has a different need. It's a YouTube video. What you can do is—
Yes, it's a YouTube.
Yeah, what you can
but
do
I'm saying, implement it. Yes.
I don't know that everybody wants the same video. Some people want the presentation video, some like that one, some like our commercials. So all the videos are loaded in the back office for that purpose. I would just send the link and then just include whatever link for the video that you want to. I get what you're saying, but we have so many different options that people can send along with it. And I like for things to be a communication. So I like to make things simple for people to use, but I never want to remove the element of communication or discussion in especially with networking. A lot of times people want it so that you send the link, all the instructions are there, don't call me back, here's how you set up your account, here's how you deposit. That's not how you grow teams. You are phenomenal. I know you talk to people all day long, you help people who aren't even on your team. A lot of you guys do the same. But I kind of like to leave it open so that that element of decision-making and conversation is left on you, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I don't even remember what I said in that video. How about that? I don't. My hair was like way high, and I don't even remember what I said. But I remember.
You want me to recite it?
No, you know what? Like I said, sometimes I just get driven to do something, and then Eddie will find me in the studio at 2 a.m. and he's like, "What are you doing?" And my hair is done, I've got makeup on, and I'm dressed, and I'm all of a sudden giving a message. He's like, "It's 2 o'clock in the morning." I'm like, "I got to do this stuff when I get the motivation to
Right.
do it. Otherwise, I get some sleep, and I wake up in the morning, and I'm like, oh, what's for breakfast?" Anyway, I want to thank you guys for being here. You add an enormous amount of value to what we do daily. So I do appreciate it. We'll talk about going forward, our next meeting, what's involved, and hopefully we can do more of these. We have been recording, so we will edit the video, post a link in the back office for everybody to enjoy. And God bless you all. Happy Sunday. Love you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Bye.
Thank you, Cynthia. Viva NovaTech.
Bye.
Viva Peru, Mexico,
Thank
USA,
you.
Colombia,
Bye.
Africa,
Peru.
Haiti.
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 All right, guys, have a good one. Bye-bye.